Hello everybody, it's Girl Got Game, and welcome to our new Sunday game we're playing for Sundays, because it's Sunday. I'm checking out the elevator game with CATGIRLS, yay! So, this is from No Bread Studio, the latest one, and I am very excited to continue playing this, because I did a gander on it last year? Is it Can't be 2 years ago now, hopefully. At least a year ago. And I did the demo when it was in Kickstarter, and I loved it. And now it's done, and it's been on my to-do list for quite some time. So I'm excited to finally jump into this. It's a horror game. There's catgirls. There's an elevator. What more needs to be said, really? Let's jump in and see what we're getting into here. It's also a point and click. Kind of like blank space, so I don't think I actually got to any of the point and click stuff in the demo when I first checked it out. I don't think so. I don't recall. So yeah, I'm excited to have my brain rot as I try to solve puzzles and miss the bleeding obvious. It'll be a good time. Let's go. As long as no spider girls crawl towards me in an elevator basement, we should be good. Disclaimer, this is a work of fiction. Names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents are either the products of the author's imagination or used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Content warning. This game contains content that may not be appropriate for all ages. Some situations depicted might be disturbing or triggering. Player discretion is advised. Hint, there are timed choices in the game. That's right, I remember that. They are recommended for a more immersive experience, but if you'd prefer to play without them, you can turn them on/off from the settings menu. That is a very nice... what's the word I'm looking for? Feature. Yeah, I really appreciate that because it makes me scared, but I'm going to leave them on even though I don't like time choices because they make me nervous, but if that's the recommended experience, I'm going to try it, and then if I get paralyzed with fear, I can always turn them off later. It's a cold winter night. Snow started to fall a couple of hours ago, so the cityscape is littered with a layer of white fluff. It crunches under our feet as we walk down the street.
Ta-da! We're here!
Oh, that's right, there's voice acting in this! I forgot! That was an awesome stretch goal that got reached in the Kickstarter. That's nice! I love this. Let's go. Ah, yes. It's all coming back to me. I look up to inspect the tall building before us. It's past midnight, so it's to be expected that most people living here will be asleep by now. Naturally, that also explains why barely any of the windows show any hints of light coming from the inside. Considering why we're here, it only adds to the creepiness of the situation. I've never been a fan of dark places. That didn't change even when I got my feline features. You'd think that being able to see so much more clearly in the dark would make darkness less scary, wouldn't you? Trouble is, I hear so many more little sounds that I couldn't make out before, too. And since I'm not sure what all of them are, the dark's every bit as creepy as it was before. Maybe even more so. Great. I love the art style of this.
So we are.
Ooh, I love your voice.
Finally! A response! I thought you were starting to give me the silent treatment again.
No, just giving you the protagonist treatment where I've got like a lot of inner thoughts that I need to digest before I respond to you. Don't worry about it. It's a fault of mine, and one I'm not too proud of. I tend to get lost in my own head sometimes. Well, quite often, really. Thankfully, Kieran is fairly used to it by now.
I swear, Kieran, of all the buildings in the city, you just had to choose one which seems super creepy. This has to be the sole residential building in the whole office district.
Oh, but you know it couldn't have just been any building. This one is perfect.
And by perfect, you mean...
Meeting the conditions and being less than 10 miles away from our homes. Or are you enjoying our walk in the snow together so much that you'd like to prowl around aimlessly for another hour? Because I don't know about you, but I'm really starting to feel the cold.
Raise his eyebrow.
Was that your plan? So I'd need you to warm me up afterwards? You could have said something, Asahi.
I just stare at her, not really sure what to say. There's no winning with Kirin when she gets all sly like this. As much as I hate to admit it, it's one of the things I actually like about her.
Oh, why did I sign up for this again?
Because you love her.
Because you love me.
Yup.
Ah, yes. Thank you for reminding me of that questionable fact. Say, do you get the feeling like someone is manipulating someone else for their advantage over here?
Aw, come on, how could you say no to that cute face?
No? Just me?
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. You know I'm happy you decided to come with me. I'll make it up to you. I promise.
Bat's eyelashes. I stare at her for a moment longer before I sigh. I really can't argue with her. Not when she's looking at me like that. I had a silent crush on this girl for the longest time and never expected to one day find out that the attraction was mutual. The fact that we managed to actually get together still feels so unreal sometimes. If it weren't for the fact that the change affected her too, it would probably have never come to this. The change. As much as I disliked it in the beginning, it made me feel like an outcast among my former peers after all. Our shared experience allowed me to be there for her when she needed it most. It's a memory I'm always going to cherish, of that I am sure. Yes, I know it's a pretty twisted sort of memory to cherish, but how could I not remember it fondly when it brought us together? I breathe warmly on my hands, rub them together, and then jam them deep in my pockets. It's not much, but hopefully it will help keep some feeling in my fingertips. It's enough to let me focus on things in the here and now at least, rather than just on how cold it is.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. You get provoked way too easily.
Fang comes out. Huh?
You're doing all of this because of the bet with Sapporo, aren't you?
Oh, sure, that's one of the reasons. But that's not the only one. I'm doing it because it's fun.
Fun? Kieran, you've seen the forums. Not a single person out there ever said it was a good idea.
Yes, all those fairy tale stories. Quite tragic, really. Come on, you're not about to tell me you honestly believe those.
Such an evil looking look. Like, ooh. It's a scary grin you got.
So you mean that you don't?
Seriously, girl. We live in the real world. Spooky, scary skeletons don't just pop out of nowhere because someone decided to be an idiot and press some buttons in a certain way.
Spooky, scary skeletons send shivers up your spine. Also, I like that someone who's got cat ears and a tail is like, we live in the real world, okay? Nothing strange happens just because.
I can't believe you, of all people, are still saying that strange, unexplained things don't happen. I mean, you did look in the mirror this morning, right?
Thank you, Asahi.
This is this, and that is that.
That sounds like a reference to something. Is that from Cats the musical? If so, I love that.
So you don't believe this will actually work? Remind me why we're here again?
We are here to prove a point. Namely, that Sapporo can suck it.
Seems as good a reason as any. Count me in.
I honestly can't believe I let you drag me into this.
I don't think I even met Sapporo in the demo, so I'm like, I don't even know who this person is.
Chill, Asahi. We suffer the cold for a while longer, nothing happens, and then Sapporo owes me $50. $50 that will treat us to a nice dinner together.
Ooh, that does sound nice.
I suppose a dinner with you is a pretty good incentive.
Right?
See, I knew you'd come around. That being said, wish me luck and all that jazz. I'll be right back.
Kieran?
What? I'm the one who should be getting cold feet here, not you.
Just, you remember all the rules, right? Stay safe, okay?
Asa-chan, be realistic about this. What's an elevator gonna do? Bite me?
You could always get stuck. That's a realistic possibility, if anything.
Truth, and that would be scary enough.
I'm sure you'll figure it out if I do. Now, be sure to stay away from the building, since we'd be breaking those majestic rules otherwise.
Right.
See ya in a bit.
And we never saw her again. I stare as Kieran approaches the building's entrance, presses one of the intercom buttons, and moments later pushes the door open. How does she convince people to trust her so quickly, to let her into the building like that? She's gone from my sight before I know it, a faint click as the door closes behind her. There's a feeling of unease pooling in my stomach. All of this being a bad idea, probably the worst we've had yet, just screams in my head. I'm so going to give Sapporo a piece of my own mind once all of this is over. It's not like I can really do much about it now, however. If I were to go after my girlfriend, saying I'd suddenly changed my mind, it would undoubtedly make her angry. My girlfriend. It still makes me all giddy just to think of her that way. But hell, we snuck out of our houses through the window without our parents knowing just to go through with all of this. If I had a problem with this whole crazy idea, I should have said something way earlier. It's too late now. Ooh. I wrap my fingers around my phone and pull it from my pocket. As I do so, I see the screen shows 0013. It took us around an hour to walk here, and while I dreaded us even being here in the first place, I'm also not looking forward to walking all the way back, especially when it's bound to get colder as the night goes on. Perhaps we could use those $50 to get a ride home instead of a meal? Yeah, if only things worked that way. With another sigh, I turn around and start to walk towards a small park located in the middle of this godforsaken district. I don't know why part of it is a playground. There can't be many kids here in the day, can there? But it is, and there's a slide as well as a pair of swings. I'll most likely freeze my ass off if I sit on one, though that would let me lift my feet off the ground for a bit. The cold, snowy ground. Decisions. I decide to sit down on the nearest one. And just like that, the uneasy feeling of having entered a... what was it Kieran called it? A liminal space? Ah, yes, those. She's so good with words sometimes. One of those places that feels a bit wrong. The feeling hits me anyway, making the hairs at the back of my neck stand up. Your mind usually associates playgrounds with children, laughter, movement, and life in general. It's what they're designed for, after all. So when you get to experience the total opposite of that, when you find yourself sitting in an empty, childless playground in the middle of the night, it doesn't feel right. Your mind associates it with something being off, something being wrong. Why are you here, Asahi? In a place you shouldn't be? Riddle me this. Absent-mindedly, my gaze wanders. Something at the other side of the street catches my attention. It's a vending machine. I happen to have a bit of change with me, and the idea of getting something hot to drink is suddenly a very alluring temptation. It would undoubtedly make the waiting out in this cold less unpleasant. Please say it's a machine that has hot drinks as well as cold ones. Only been a minute, dang. With my mind made up, I get back to my feet, checking the time more out of habit than actual curiosity again. 0014. Only a minute's passed since Kieran disappeared into the building, and I'm both surprised and not really. The feeling of time passing slower than usual is normal when you obsessively wait for something, even more so when said waiting is physically uncomfortable. I make my way towards the vending machine without a second thought. To my relief, its glowing buttons do indeed hold the promise of a hot drink. I decide to get... and I get to take my time with this one. I'm more of a coffee girl. Sweet or bitter? Made your first choice. Bitter all the way. Nothing sounds better than a hot can of coffee right now. Not only will it help me survive the cold, it's also bound to give me an energy boost, one I could use for both the waiting and the upcoming inevitable journey all the way back home. Kurokohi. It costs a little more than I expected, and I won't have enough to get a second can. So there goes the idea of treating Kirin to a nice warming drink for the walk home. Oh well. She'll survive, and it is her fault that we'll be walking back through the snow. Okay, so I wonder if I got the cocoa, if I would have had enough money to get her something. I'll file that away for another time. The can feels warm and heavenly in my hands. I wrap my hands around it, enjoying a few moments of bliss as the heat warms my fingers. Carefully, I prise the edge of the pull tab up with a nail so I can get my finger underneath, and then pull it open with a sharp hiss. I'm always really careful with how I open cans after carelessly breaking a nail once. The memory of that still makes me shudder. I shiver, trying to fight down the sudden memory of Kirin tortuously dragging her nails against the blackboard in my class, a wicked smile painting her lips as she held my gaze. I wish I could somehow control these unwanted thoughts sometimes. Alas, my brain likes to torture me instead. The smell of the beverage reaches my nose, grounding me back in reality. I take a small sip, instantly happy with the taste. Being able to drink anything warm feels like a godsend right now. Satisfied, at least momentarily, I make my way back to the playground, intending to sit back at the spot I took up before. I reach the swing and settle back down. As I glance up again at the building Kieran slipped into minutes ago... Oh, well, that's not good. My blood suddenly runs cold. A sense of sudden panic swarms my mind as I try to make sense of what I'm seeing. A building that's dead to the world, all pitch black with none of its light shining through the windows anymore. Could all the residents have gone to sleep in the meantime? That's close to impossible, and I know it. A power outage, maybe. I quickly turn around and look at the other buildings around me. All of those seem the same as when we arrived, with a bright window still present here and there, so surely that can't be it. If the power was cut off, it would affect the whole street, wouldn't it? Or even several streets? Also looks like there's lights in the playground that are still on. Almost spilling my drink, I hastily reach for the phone in my pocket. And we've gone back in time. I blink, then close my eyes shut for a moment, certain that something's wrong with my eyesight. The time couldn't have just gone backwards. Okay, that's better. But was it real? A small sense of relief floods me as I quickly open my eyes again. It must have been a trick of the light before. Or perhaps there was a glitch with my phone's display. Perhaps there is something wrong with me. But the lights are back. Remembering what made me reach for my phone in the first place, I raised my head to look at the building before me once more, only to see it in its previous state. The lights are back on as if they were never gone to begin with. The unease in my stomach stays, though. I know what I saw. I'm pretty sure I couldn't have just imagined it. It's been 5 minutes since Kieran went into the building. Is that enough to ride through a bunch of floors? Would she be mad if I called her so soon? Dwelling on it suddenly feels stupid. Aw. I open up the calls app on my phone, and there's her name at the top of the history. She'd called me just a couple of hours ago to confirm our plans for tonight. Admittedly, her name is also there for the call before that, and the one before, and... Okay, I chat to her a lot, so one more call now can't hurt, right? I hit the redial button. I'm actually gonna... Do I want to turn the... I don't know if I want to turn the sound up or not. I'll leave it for now. I should have expected the call wouldn't connect. If she's still inside the elevator, there probably isn't any reception in there, is there? So what options does that leave me with? Going in after her? Waiting for another 5 minutes? I stare at the building before me intently, afraid to avert my eyes anymore. It's like I'm hopeful my gaze, my constant observation, alone will make the lights stay. I'm scared of the situation repeating itself. Sometime later, I realize that I've spent so long just holding my can and fretting about Kieran that my drink has gone from a nice hot drink to, well, undrinkable. Some drinks are not meant to be just kinda warm, and this is one of them. At least it kept my hands from freezing, I guess. 10 minutes pass. I feel only more cold and helpless. Why can't Kieran just come out of the building now as if nothing has happened and laugh at me for worrying too much? I call her again for good measure. Surprisingly, the call does go through this time. That's a good sound. Hello?
Hello?
Yep, definitely a good sign. I'm not prepared for what I hear. A woman laughing at the other end. There's something about it that disturbs me to the very core. It's definitely not Kieran's voice. Or is it? All of a sudden, realization hits me. Sapporo, the bet, everything. Now this. None of it could possibly be real. All of this has to be a prank arranged by my classmates. And whether Kieran's in on it... She wouldn't do this to me, would she? The image of her wickedly smiling, amused face persistently pops up in my mind again. Confusion turns into anger. Before I know it, I'm on my feet, already marching to the building, determination boiling inside of me. There's an obstacle before I can get in, though, as I obviously don't have a key to the entrance door. What kind of excuse would be plausible at this sort of hour? I stab at the button that I think Kirin pressed and then almost immediately regret it. What if I press the wrong button? What if I press the right one and sound stupid when the other person asks who's there? What if... To my surprise, there's a click from the intercom and then a buzz as I'm let in without a single word being spoken. Convenient. Huh. So Kieran didn't have to sweet-talk anyone. I try not to dwell on the unexpected invitation as I shrug it all off on luck. Oh. There are paintings on the wall. As soon as the doors close behind me, it occurs to me just how dark the inside of the building is. I know it's the middle of the night, but I'm not sure whether such a complete lack of light is normal? People live here, after all. There should be some signs of life. Buildings usually have at least a few lights on inside, don't they? It's unsettling, although it doesn't make me as nervous as it used to. I know that my vision is going to adjust to the darkness in a moment, letting me navigate the place easily. I'm able to see a lot better in the dark compared to when I was still completely human, but it doesn't work instantly. Ah, better. As I take a first few hesitant steps into the building, the lights flicker on with a harsh buzz. Of course, I'm being such an idiot. There are automatic lights in here. They come on when people move. Totally ordinary. It's just that I've never been in this building before. It stands to reason that it feels unusually creepy to me, right? Especially if I think about why I'm currently here. All that considered, it feels like it takes longer for me to reach the end of the long hallway than it probably should. It's a dangerous time to let your mind wander into places nobody sane would want it wandering to. At least the building inside is noticeably warmer than the outdoors. It makes the whole situation slightly easier to bear. My hands and feet almost started to freeze off out there. The next thing I know, I stand before the elevator door rooted to the ground, with the sudden sensation of someone watching me. Nope, I never look. When I get that feeling, I never look behind. I don't want to see death approaching me, thank you. Hesitantly, I reach to press the elevator button, more panic exploding inside of me as the automated light picks that exact moment to cut out. Great! Oh, come on now. My first instinct is to get my phone out, let it illuminate the sudden darkness of the corridor, and Bastet knows what else is inhabiting it currently. Hello? I said not to look. There's nothing. Nothing that I'm able to see, anyway. It's just the empty corridor, a row of closed doors along each side, seemingly the same as when I first entered it. There's nobody there. I don't feel any less on edge when I turn back in the other direction, bearing my back to all of that space again, pressing the elevator button as quickly as I can find it. A distant sound of machinery starting up pierces the unnerving silence, followed by a hum which indicates that the elevator is in motion. It's clearly on a different floor, so I wait for it to descend. Taking a deep breath, I try to calm myself. It feels like an eternity drags by as I wait for the thing to arrive. Whew, blinding. The doors finally slide apart with a slight scraping sound, and the small compartment finally opens up before me, completely empty. No Kieran. I'm not sure whether I should be surprised or not. A part of me hoped it wouldn't have to come to this, while another already expected for things to turn out this way. At this point, I decide to do the only sensible thing I can think of doing. Get into the elevator, ascend to the highest floor, then make my way down the stairs. All in the hope of stumbling upon Kirin, possibly hiding from me on one of the floors. I don't manage to find her, however. Interesting. I kind of think the demo ended at that point, possibly? Or I stopped playing at that point? I remember that choice of, like, someone's watching you. But I don't remember much after that. Anyway. Might be potentially going into uncharted territory now. I check every single floor as I proceed downwards, but I don't see Kirin anywhere. 1:48. An hour and a half later. Calling her again is to no avail. Kiri, where are you? This isn't funny anymore. I send her a text message, feeling distraught and tired. She usually replies to me pretty quickly, but the seconds, and then minutes, tick by without any reply. I add a second message. Seriously, I'm tired and cold. I'm going home. I'm convinced that she's trying to prank me at this point. I mean, that's the logical thing to assume, right? Kieran said she didn't believe any of this ritual mumbo-jumbo would work. She probably snuck out of the building the moment I got on the elevator. Perhaps it's her presence that I felt back in the corridor before. 2:23. It's not an easy choice to make, but I eventually decide to leave and head back home by myself. Yeah, I mean, it's been like 2.5 hours. Kirin doesn't arrive at class the next day. I get a call from her parents during one of the breaks asking me if I know anything about their daughter's whereabouts. They apparently woke up to find her missing from her room, and she hasn't answered their calls either. I lie about not knowing anything. Hello.
You mean to say Kirin went missing?
So you're Sapporo, eh? Alright. I like your star tattoo.
Are you sure this isn't just another one of her stupid pranks?
I don't know.
Well, I probably know less than you do. Last time I talked to her, it was yesterday, when we made the bet. Are you going to look for her?
Why? Are you planning to come along?
Nah, I'm too scared of ghosts.
Okay. My encounter with Sapporo comes next, and it's not an outcome I'm satisfied with. Our mutual friends claim they have no idea what happened to Kieran either. When the case gets reported to the police the next day, I actually start to believe them. Things are going way too far for a mere prank. Kieran, where the hell are you? Surely the elevator ritual couldn't have actually worked. Dun dun dun. Are we back? We're back. Alright, I guess it's our turn to do it. I find myself standing once again in the lobby of that cursed building late at night. I'm honestly not eager to find out whether this whole elevator game actually works or not. The idea that it might not be just something completely made up chills me to my kitty bones. But any rational thought is an afterthought at this point. Two things have driven me into this madness. One of them being the need to find Kieran, obviously. The second is me feeling like I'm partially responsible for her disappearance. I agreed to this. It was her idea, but I joined her on it. I didn't stop this whole foolish thing. I mean, you did kind of try to voice some concerns. I don't think Kieran would have stopped even if you were like, I'm putting my foot down. We were both so utterly, utterly ignorant. If the ritual indeed worked, Kieran could have ended up stuck somewhere. For all I know, I might be currently the only person who can actually help her. I have to do that before it's too late. Well, at least the lights are working again. This is a creepy lobby.
Deep breaths, Asahi.
With a shaky hand, I press the button to call the elevator. I've been trying to memorize all the rules for this stupid game for what feels like forever, but I don't really trust myself to remember it all once things get stressful. I hear that. Supposedly, this whole thing can screw with your mind in ways you wouldn't expect. Hence why I came prepared and wrote the steps down, both on my phone and on a piece of paper I had in my pocket. Good thinking. I also brought a backpack with some essentials with me. Food, among other things. Kieran's been gone for a long time. The math speaks for itself. It's not just any old food either. It's some of her favorite snacks. How thoughtful. What a good girlfriend. My thoughts get interrupted by the sound of doors sliding apart, revealing the small compartment before me again. Empty, just like last time. With one last glance at my phone, which is now showing 0009, I take a step into the elevator. Eggs. Right. I'm here now on the first floor. Alone. Just like I'm supposed to be. It's quiet. Eerily so. Not even attempting this ritual would be the smartest thing to do, honestly. Of all the things I've read about it online, and I've read a lot, I did as much research, much research, there we go, as I possibly could in the small time frame I had. I didn't find a single person that encouraged anyone to try it out for themselves. Whoever did and lived to tell the tale was terrified at the outcome. Of course, I initially assumed all of those stories were fake. Would probably still assume so if it weren't for the weird things that have been happening around the world lately. Kieran's unexplained disappearance on top of them all. Taking a deep breath, I turned to stare at the button panel before me. But before I decide to do anything further, I want to go over the rules in my mind one last time. From beginning to end, just to make absolutely sure I remember them all. Elevator to another world. That's the name of the game. Only one person can play it at a time. The ritual needs to be performed in a building that's at least 10 stories high, and it has to have at least one elevator in it. All 3 of these conditions need to be met, otherwise you cannot proceed. As for the instructions themselves, please recall them in detail so that I know what I'm doing. Instructions for the way there. 1. In your chosen building, get into the elevator on the first floor by yourself. Okay? If anyone else is in or gets on the elevator with you, do not proceed. That's simple enough and already done. Then there's an order to the buttons I should press, which is straightforward enough. 2. Press the button for the 4th floor. Okay. I'm definitely gonna have to make notes of what order to do things in. Hold on. Okay. 4 first. Let's write this down. Okay. 4. When the elevator reaches the 4th floor, do not go out. Stay in the elevator and press the button for the 2nd floor. Okay. When the elevator reaches the 2nd floor, do not get out. Stay in the elevator and press the button for the 6th floor. Okay. When the elevator reaches the 6th floor, do not get out. Stay in the elevator and press the button for the 2nd floor again. Okay. When the elevator reaches the 2nd floor, do not get out. Stay in the elevator and press the button for the 10th floor. Alrighty. Some have reported hearing a voice calling to them during this point of the ritual. Oh, hell no. You're not supposed to reply. You're not supposed to answer in any way. Okay, don't leave the elevator. Don't respond to any weird voices. When the elevator reaches the 10th floor, do not get out. Stay in the elevator and press the button for the 5th floor. Okay. 5th. Now, here's the tricky part. Some people have reported that a woman may enter the elevator on this floor. Oh, I don't like that either. She may appear as a stranger who wishes to engage with you. However, she may also appear as someone you know. Well, that's great. So I'll have no way of knowing. Kieran just gets on the elevator, is like, "Oh, Kieran, I found you," and then did. So if I see anyone of the female persuasion, it's important not to acknowledge her in any way. All right. Do not leave. Do not speak. Do not see. I have to cover my ears at any point. No talking, no looking. If the elevator is reflective, you're supposed to stare at the floor or buttons only. Thankfully, there are no mirrors in this one. Press the button for the 1st floor. Okay. Now, 2 things can happen. It's important to pay attention. I'm terrified. If the elevator starts to ascend to the 10th floor instead of the 1st, it means that the ritual has worked. If it starts descending to the 1st floor, like instructed by the button instead, it means something has been done wrong and the ritual has failed. In this case, you should get out of the elevator on that floor immediately. If the woman is there, you should remember not to acknowledge her. 10. If you reach the 10th floor, you can choose to leave or stay on the elevator. Okay, so I can leave on the 10th floor. Some have reported that if you attempt to leave, the woman may try to engage with you one last time. Okay, I'm going to do 1 equals 10 equals leave. Question mark. She might raise her voice, shriek at you, or ask you a simple question. Keep your wits about you and do not engage with her, even out of fear. There is only one way to know whether you have reached the other world for sure. You will know because you'll be the only person there. I'm not sure what to make of that last part, considering why I decided to play this game in the first place. Yeah, I kind of need to find a person there. If I am to find Kieran, does that mean I can't reach the other world the right way? Either way, I simplified these rules and saved them on my phone in case I needed a reminder. ETA steps. Oh, excellent. That's basically what I wrote too. 1, 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. Enter elevator alone. Press button for floor 4, 2, 6, 2, 10. If you hear sounds or voices, ignore. Do not reply. Stay on 10. Press 5. Some woman may enter. Do not look at her. Do not talk to her. Press 1. You should start ascending to 10. If the elevator goes to 1, the ritual is failed. Get out of the elevator on that floor. Do not engage with the woman. On 10, choose to leave or stay. Remember not to engage with the woman, as she might still try to get your attention. Leaving should get you to the other world. Traveling back if deciding to stay on 10. Keep pressing the button for 1 until the elevator begins to move. Once on 1, exit immediately. Do not leave on any other floors, even if the elevator stops elsewhere. Do not acknowledge the woman or anyone else who might enter the elevator. Okay, so I need to... Okay, so if I don't exit the elevator, I have to press 1 until it moves. Traveling back from the other world. The elevator you used to get there is the only one you can return with. Remember, once in the same elevator, repeat steps 2 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 to 8? What's 2 to 8? Hold on. Okay, so from all those buttons in order again. Gotcha. To get on 5 again. Pressing 1. If you start ascending to 10 again, press any other floor before it for the elevator to stop there instead, canceling the ascension. Do it before reaching 10. Okay. So to leave the other world, I gotta do the buttons in the same order, and then hope it goes to 1. If it goes to 10, I gotta press any other floor. Ignore any voices. Once on 1, be sure nothing looks, feels, sounds, smells out of the ordinary. You may need to repeat step 2 until everything on 1 finally seems normal. Okay, so I might have to, like, do the whole thing again until 1 seems normal. Do not leave otherwise. This is very important. This is terrifying. Once you're convinced everything on 1 is as it should be, you can exit the elevator. Additional info. Some have described the other world as dark, but otherwise exactly like your home world. There may be a red cross in the sky. Electronics often do not work on the other side. You may become disoriented or dizzy as you exit on 10. Pay attention to how you're feeling and keep your wits about you. If you pass out and wake up at home, it might not be your home world, or even not the other world you were intending to travel to. How will I know that? Examine everything to make sure nothing is out of the ordinary. If you enter the wrong elevator on your way back, the button sequence will not work. Okay, and I can't do any other buttons. Okay, nothing terrifying from those instructions at all. People have reported that playing the elevator game might mess with your head, make you forget things, or make you feel disoriented, so I'm not about to take any chances. I have it all on a piece of paper in my pocket too. I've watched too many movies to be foolish enough to put all my trust in something that can break. Alright, things are unlocking for us. Ooh. Whoa. Okay. So this is like the same as what we just read. Okay, great, good. Yes? Is that good? I did it. I win. As I put away my phone and notes after double checking the rules, a chilling realization hits me. The floor I'm on, according to the elevator, isn't the first floor. That's true. It's 0, so it's the ground floor. But is that the first floor, or is 1 the first floor? It's floor 0. Needless to say, this places me in a predicament before I've even really started. Do I just assume the game means the ground floor by referring to the first floor, or is that assumption wrong and I should consider floor 0 as being the wrong floor? What would Kieran have assumed for that matter? Would she even have noticed this detail to begin with? What should I do? Abort, re-enter the building, proceed as is. I mean, if it's the wrong floor, then nothing should happen. So I'll proceed as is. And then we can leave, re-enter, hopefully. Alright. I get the feeling Kieran didn't notice this detail. What if she got stuck somewhere precisely because of this fact? And in case she really didn't notice, does this mean I'll be able to follow her to wherever she is if I follow the rules accordingly from this point on too? There's only one way to find that out. Okay, let's try going over this again. I'm on the first floor. Floor 4 is next. Okay. Ooh, I love that. The interface is great. The music. Okay, there's a red light. That's fine. Then floor 2. Are all these buttons? Ooh. There's a call button and close button. That's useful. Okay. I'll just follow my instructions for now. We'll fiddle with things later. I'm a good girl. I'm a good cat girl. I follow my instructions. Okay. That seems fine. Then floor 6. Please no voices. Please no strange or familiar women. Just a bunch of doors open. It's fine. Then floor 2 again. I'm sure everything's great. Okay. Red light again? Red light's not there. Okay. Then floor 10. Or maybe 4. I think 4 was the red light, actually. Okay, floor 10. Okay, so I can only go up. 10 is the highest. Looks like there's a basement floor as well, which I never have to interact with unless I do at some point. Okay, this is where the voices, I think, can potentially happen. Door open right by the elevator, that's fine. Then floor 5. And just one more floor after this, and then if it goes to 10, we've done it. If it goes to 1, we did not do it. Huh. Interesting. And finally, floor 1. Just not gonna question what that window thing is. It's really nerve-wracking just being in the elevator as it moves. Okay, so we went to 1. We didn't go to 10, so something went wrong. Okay. Since the elevator descended back to the exact floor I directed it to, it means the ritual didn't go according to the rules, meaning that it failed. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. I didn't notice Kieran anywhere either, so it's likely that I started off on the wrong floor after all. I guess I should be glad it's so late at night and the inhabitants of the building don't really have much of a reason to use the elevator and wonder what kind of oddball wants to go up and down like a yo-yo. Either way, I gave it a try. I have my answer now. I believe it's my cue to leave the building. I should re-enter the elevator from the first floor. Okay. And then we'll see if it works. Squeak! Do you have to walk like a certain distance away? Just to be on the safe side, I make my way towards the playground. That should be enough distance between myself and the building to reset the game, right? My phone's display is now showing 0029. I wait another minute for good measure. Guy? Oh! Is that my boy? I saw this boy being promoted on Twitter like a year ago or whatever and was like, oh, this is gonna be the guy that I'm like, hello. I don't think Asahi will be that interested in him, but me, the player, is like, hello? Notice me, senpai! Your hat is so cool! I'm about to make my way back to the building entrance with the intention of pressing one of the intercom buttons when I suddenly notice someone walking down the street. Not to draw attention to myself, I hunch down my shoulders and remain frozen in place, listening to the footsteps that keep getting louder and louder. Does your hat have cat ears, by the way, sir? Sir? Oh, he walked right by me, sad face. The person makes his way past me, and for a moment I feel relief before I realize he's heading towards the same building entrance I was about to head back to. Perhaps he lives there? He presses the intercom buttons a couple of times, although I can't quite see which. He clearly knows what he's doing, however, as the sound of the door opening reaches my ears shortly after. Wanting to use the opportunity, I quickly dash forward with the intention of catching the door before it closes after the stranger. Yay, our first meeting, let's go.
Thank you.
Oh, do you live here?
Her soul just leaves her body from a simple question. I love that. Crap, he just had to go ahead and make small talk.
No, I came to visit a friend.
A friend? Is that so?
He's got a fang too, eh? Interesting.
Must be a very important friend when you come to visit them so late at night.
What are you implying? Please just go. Please just go.
Have we met before?
No?
Definitely not. I need to go now.
That face.
Ah, yes. Sorry. Don't mind me. Just be sure to take the stairs. The elevator's been malfunctioning a lot lately.
You don't say, mysterious stranger. I wait for the stranger to go into the building, and watch him intently as he makes his way towards one of the hallways. All things considered, he seemed like a decent guy? But for all I know, he might be some kind of creep. Or he knows something. And besides, I can't enter the building with other people if I want to follow the rules. Well, until we meet again, mysterious stranger. I climb the stairs, making sure that I enter the elevator from the first floor this time around. Alright, let's try the song and dance again. Right, let's give this another try. I'm on floor 1, hopefully the right one. Floor 4 is next. Hint, for speed, you can choose to skip through the elevator animations. Okay, that's nice. I won't do it for now, but probably going up and down enough times I will want to do it at some point. Okay, that's great. We recommend not skipping for proper immersion, but it's your choice how you prefer to play. Whichever playstyle you choose, you're still required to press the panel buttons in order to advance yourself, of course. Smiley face. Of course. Okay. We'll keep an anxious suspense for our real first journey to the other world. Hopefully. Hopefully it works this time. Okay, yeah. 4 is the red. Then floor 2. Okay, going down. The elevator animations are super well done, by the way. Big fan. Then floor 6. See if anything starts to look weirder than it did last time. Or sound weird, or smell weird, or whatever. Okay, doors are open, it's fine. Then floor 2 again. I'm going through these buttons so fast, going like, I don't want to see nobody get on this elevator with me. Let's go. Make it snappy. Okay, that floor's fine. Uh-oh. The moment I reach the second floor for the second time, I immediately notice a change in the atmosphere. The feeling that something is very, very wrong hits me like a truck, making the hair at the back of my neck stand up. What is this? I can't shake off the overwhelming sensation that I should get out of the elevator right now. No leaving the elevator until you get to 10 the proper way. I can't quite explain it. But if I wasn't completely freaking out before, now it's very hard to not do so. It's almost like standing on rail tracks while a train comes straight at you at full speed. You know you have to move if you don't want to get run over. You know you have to move if you don't want to be turned into a wet, fleshy smear along the tracks. If I don't move, I'm going to die. It's the lack of air that snaps me out of my stupor. I realize I've been holding my breath ever since the elevator stopped. I breathe in only to be greeted by a foul smell. It's almost like rotting fish mixed in with something I can't even name. I'm certain I didn't smell anything like this when I was here before. Floor 10 should be next. Okay. The only time I have to be worried about the smell is if I go to 1 to leave. And it's like, if it smells weird, do all the steps from the beginning again. I wasn't on 1, so that should be fine. Please no voices. When the door finally opens on the 10th floor, it's like a breath of fresh air after what feels like minutes of being stuck in a closed can. I notice that the foul smell is suddenly gone. Next is floor 5. Okay. Well, at least the smell's gone. That's probably a good sign, right? Up? Wait. That's not supposed to happen. Lucky 13, eh? Okay. Huh? I'm pretty sure I pressed the button for the 5th floor. That's what the rules instruct the player to do, after all. So why? This is not where the elevator was supposed to go. It's impossible because it's only 10 floors high. Not to mention, this is still a 10-story high building, isn't it? Getting to the 13th floor is obviously impossible. It shouldn't even exist. I need to stay calm. Even if I'm unnerved by the fact that the elevator door doesn't open up when it supposedly arrives on the floor in question. Did the thing levitate out of the building somehow? That's crazy. It's obviously some kind of mistake. Perhaps the elevator panel is malfunctioning. Maybe I'm on the 5th floor right now, just like intended. There are no instructions for such a scenario taking place in the rules. So, I guess I'm left to my own devices and better judgment. Does this mean the ritual failed since this happened? Does this mean something else entirely? If I had to think of any plausible options on what to do next... Abort. Press 5 again. Yeah. Press F5 to save. I'm gonna open the door. I'm not getting out. I'm gonna take a peek and see what's happening out there. I press the button for opening up the door. There's a red sky. I seem to be greeted by a floor at least, so the elevator hasn't levitated out of the building after all. Probably. What are the odds that I've managed to get to the other world already and now the building somehow has more floors? It seems like a crazy idea, but everything about this has been crazy enough to begin with. Who knows what to actually expect? I know I shouldn't leave the elevator at any cost, but... Oh... It's a note. I noticed something standing out in the corridor before me, pretty close to the door. If I try hard enough, I'm pretty sure I could reach it without stepping out. Should I? Yoink? I get on my knees, careful not to leave the compartment. Great. Then I reach out for the piece of paper that's lying on the ground. A note in scarlet. Found your first red note. Okay. April 13th. Now we're letting those abominations into our school? Fucking great. Just what we needed. One of them looks sort of cute. I wonder what she'd sound like when we set her clothes on fire. Oh, that's a very happy note. The date on this thing. There's no year, but if it's from the current one, it could be from a couple of months ago. Wait, isn't that from the day I transferred? Okay. Oh, wait. Hello? I get snapped away from my thoughts with the elevator door suddenly closing. Before I can even think about what to possibly do next, the small compartment is put into motion without my input. Where are we going now? Down. Are we going to 5 or 1? I can't shake off the weird feeling that something was waiting for me to pick up that note before letting me proceed further. Did some greater force guide me? Was I being watched? I like that the floors go down with each line. The idea is absurd, and yet... Well, I finally made it to 1. I mean to 5. That's still there. The elevator seems to have descended back to the 5th floor, just like I prompted for it to do last time, before I got taken to a floor that wasn't even supposed to exist. Does this mean that the ritual is still going according to the rules? I honestly don't know. The rules mention that there might be some kind of woman getting into the elevator at this point in the game, but I can't see anybody. There's another note. Okay. There's just something distinct that stands out next to the elevator door again. I could probably reach it without having to step outside, just like last time. Yoink. It begun with a nugget. Found your first silver note. Okay. I keep finding these notes. They seemed like some diary entries at first, but none of it makes sense at this point. Could it be that this place somehow captures your thoughts and turns them into these things? Will somebody be reading mine too? Seems like it's another one of those notes, but this one's different than the one I found earlier. The writing has a different shape, and the paper itself has a different tint to it. Yeah, it's silver instead of red. Is it safe to assume this isn't the same person's? Oh boy. Now where are we going? Down to 1. I guess the ritual's not working and we're just going to be... Okay, it took us down to 0. Do I leave? Oh, alright, I don't even get the option to, like, think about it. Not taking any chances, I take the silent invitation to leave without a second thought. I run out of the building as fast as my legs allow me to. Okay. Fresh air. I'm alive. God damn it. What the hell was that? The rules say I should leave the building immediately if the elevator descends back to the first floor instead of the 10th. So I did just that. But you didn't. You came out on ground zero, girl. Are we screwed? I don't know. Am I safe now? Does this mean the game is reset and I can attempt it anew once I go back to the elevator right now? Can I just go home and forget about Kieran? Why do these rules have to be so vague? Ugh. I checked my phone for good measure, curious about the time. It seems like a couple of minutes have passed since I got into the elevator. Nothing out of the ordinary, then. Even if it feels like I was trapped in there for hours instead. Maybe another drink. Deciding to take a short break, I get something hot from the vending machine. Coffee should be good for keeping me on my toes, even if adrenaline is currently doing the job pretty well. I made sure to bring more change with me this time around. Nice. Choco milk? That's not what I ordered. Huh? I reached to take out my canned coffee, only to notice there's a bottle of chocolate milk instead? Did the machine malfunction, or did someone buy it before me and then just leave it here? It must be a malfunction. I did put money in, and I did hear it doing vending machine things. On further inspection, the factory seal is still intact, so it's definitely not someone else's half-finished drink. I'm still not about to drink it, but I suppose I can take it with me. Lactose-free. Found some chocolate milk. Damn it, though. This means I just used up my change and got no coffee in return. Stupid machine. Ow. Nothing's working. Meh. Frustrated, I head back to the building entrance, hitting one of the intercom buttons. I try to make sense of what I experienced in the elevator, but I'm at a loss. All in all, the sooner I can find Kieran, the sooner we'll be able to leave this place. And never come back. I'm really not in the mood to dwell on this.
Hello?
Hello? I'm shaken out of my thoughts when I suddenly hear a voice from the intercom. Oh crap. This isn't how it went last time. This wasn't supposed to happen all of a sudden.
Hello? Who's there?
Is that you, boyo? What should I say? I mean, I forgot my keys is the clicheist thing in the book. Girl Scout cookies!
Girl Scout cookies!
Not buying it?
That excuse stopped being funny after the first 4 times.
Oh, come on.
Stop watching so many cartoons, kid.
Who is this? Well, that went well. Great going, Asahi. I just about want to curl up and die from embarrassment, but I force myself to press one of the intercom buttons again. A different one, this time. I can't let this stop me. I will humiliate myself as many times as it takes. I need to get back into the building. To my surprise, I'm greeted with the sound of entry this time around. Someone simply lets me in, no questions asked. Just like before. The victory! I exhale, quickly getting into the building. Hey. It still feels so jarring how eerily quiet the inside of it is compared to the outside. It's like the door of the building is a portal to another world of its own already. Gathering my thoughts, I remember the notes I found. This has to mean something. I'm determined to get to the bottom of this. I should attempt that ritual again. Maybe I did something wrong before. Hint. Clues found throughout the game can lead you to new floor combinations and different endings. Okay. Reaching an ending doesn't reset your exploration progress. All found items carry over to consecutive playthroughs. Oh, it's kind of like a roguelite? I can never remember the difference between the two. Kind of roguey. Some things around the lobby may change as you explore the game. Okay. Stay vigilant and have fun exploring this bizarre setting, smiley face. I've been freed! Interesting. Now I can explore too? Okay. I think that's probably a good place to stop for our first episode then, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Well, to say I was like a cat on hot bricks during that elevator ride is an understatement, but we've lived so far, and now we get to explore and poke all the things, so that should be fun. Alright, guys. Thanks again for joining me. Until next time, I will see you later.